Gupta. The issue of Vande Mataram is a long buried story of warped Indian secularism that rears its ugly head from time to time. The song, an ode to India as a motherland, is India's national song but rejected by a sizable Muslim population even till today. After partition, the story hasn't changed really. Even elected representatives of India have been known to refuse to sing it because secularism in India is not true to its roots. It's an exclusionary exercise to sanitize whatever is uncomfortable to non-Indic religions. At the event commemorating 150 years of the national song Vande Mataram, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today reminded everyone of how in 1937, important stanzas were removed from the original song which sowed, according to him, seeds of partition. But the question is, why is that apartheid applied to this song even after independence? Why did our polity never agree to restore the full song? Because even after truncating it, opposition to it still continues. So who's really intolerant to this song and why? That's coming up with our guests in just a bit. Now, the hymn Vande Mataram was born as a 6-stanza poem, but its final role in independent India was shaped by political necessity, or was it political cowardice? The version adopted as the national song of India in 1950 consists only of the first 2 stanzas of the original composed by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. The verses that were omitted portray India as a motherland, as the embodiment of Hindu deities like Durga, Lakshmi and more. And why was this done? This was done because the Congress wanted to avoid offending Muslim sensitivities at that time, and Muslim intelligentsia of that time had openly objected to this Hindu imagery. Almost since the time it was adopted as the national song, Vande Mataram has been associated as much with politics as with patriotism, striking uncomfortable communal chords which just really don't go away. But the year 1937 marked a pivotal moment in this song's history. The Congress was forced to address the growing controversies surrounding Vande Mataram. So in 1937, after receiving several complaints, the Congress leadership established a panel to officially look into these concerns. The Congress Working Committee formed a committee comprising amongst others Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi and Abul Kalam Azad to look into these objections. And after deliberation, the panel found that the Muslim complaint was indeed valid for the later stanzas of the song, especially regarding the last 4 stanzas of this 6-stanza hymn. The panel noted that the song's explicit religious references and devotional imagery in those later stanzas were the point of objection for the Muslim community, and rightly so. So what was the result? The resulting directive was that the Congress Working Committee officially ruled that the first 2 stanzas only must be sung at public and political gatherings. Let's take you through the history of Vande Mataram, the song itself or the poem itself. This Vande Mataram purely means I bow to thee, mother. It was originally penned in Sanskrit and Bengali. The song that first appeared in Bankim Chatterjee's 1882 novel Anandanath. Congress removed parts referencing Hindu goddesses like Durga and Lakshmi, and I want to now read out or translate some of these stanzas or lines that have been objected to. So what does the 4th stanza say? The lines that were omitted: Thou art Durga, lady and queen, with her hands that strike and her swords of sheen. Thou art Lakshmi, lotus throne, and goddess Vani, that is Saraswati, bestower of wisdom known. Let's also listen in. कुछ बताओ.
मुक्त बिहार चाहता है और वो हम बना करें
जी। क्योंकि आपने घुसपैठियों का सवाल भी खड़ा भी किया था, बहुत सारे वोटर्स को लेकर विपक्ष भी सवाल लगातार खड़ा कर रहा है कि नाम काटे गए हैं और वो सब चीजें।
नहीं, जो भारत के नागरिक नहीं है
जी,
उनके नाम काटे ही जाएंगे
जी।
राहुल जी और लालू जी उनको बचाना चाहते हैं मगर बचा नहीं पाए।
सर ये बताएं कि जो फर्स्ट फेज में जो वोटिंग हुई, इस बार रिकॉर्ड तोड़ वोटिंग हुई है, पिछले कई सालों का रिकॉर्ड टूटा है, इसके क्या मायने हैं?
इसके मायने यही है कि हमारा आकलन है 160 का, इससे भी आगे बहुमत के साथ हम जीत सकते।
सर इस बार चुनाव में और खास करके सीमांचल क्योंकि मुस्लिम बहुल ये इलाका है, क्या मुद्दे रहे इस बार?
गत चुनाव में भी हम यहाँ से बहुमत के साथ जीते थे और इस बार और बहुमत के साथ जीतेंगे क्योंकि हमने सीमांचल को घुसपैठिया मुक्त कराने का वादा किया।
एक सवाल लगातार खड़ा होता है कि जीत के बाद एनडीए किसको मुख्यमंत्री बनाएगी, लगातार विपक्ष इसको लेकर सवाल खड़े।
अरे आपकी चैनल पर ही मैं स्पष्ट कर चुका हूँ, है को एक का एक।
जी सर क्या अनुमान है पहले चरण के चुनाव के बाद, क्या अनुमान अब लग रहा है? अब क्या असेसमेंट लग रहा है पहले चरण के बाद?
हम 160 से ज्यादा सीटों से इस चुनाव में विजय प्राप्त करेंगे। सीट जीतने के हमारे मार्जिन भी बढ़ेंगे।
और एक सवाल और सर, सीमांचल में क्या लग रहा है कि पार्टी का, एनडीए का क्या परफॉर्मेंस लगने वाला?
हमारी सीटें बढ़ेगी बड़ी मात्रा में।
शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह का रोड शो इस समय चल रहा है और देखें कि किस तरीके का माहौल यहाँ की पूर्णिया की सड़कों पर है। लोगों का हुजूम उमड़ चुका है और लगातार केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह यहाँ पर लगातार फोकस कर रहे हैं। सीमांचल के इलाके में भीड़ ज्यादा है और ये कह रहे हैं कि 160 से ज्यादा सीटों पर जीत हासिल होगी। कैमरामैन निजाम के साथ रवि सिंह, पूर्णिया, न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया।
They're speaking in Bihar after the conclusion of phase 1 of polling and ahead of phase 2 in Bihar. He is confident that the NDA is going to increase its tally overall and also in the region of Simhanchal. Even as we keep our eye on what's happening in Bihar, a reminder of the debate that's coming up. The Prime Minister today reminded India of the 1937 omission of Vande Mataram by Congress. Who is really intolerant to the national song and why? That's coming up.
दुर्भाग्य से 1937 में वंदे मातरम के महत्वपूर्ण पदों को, उसकी आत्मा के एक हिस्से को अलग कर दिया गया था।
इनको हर चीज में अगर सांप्रदायिकता दिखती है और इनको अगर कविता पढ़नी नहीं आती है, वंदे मातरम समझ में नहीं आता कि उनके तमाम स्टैंजास क्या कर रहे हैं, फिर बेवकूफों के जवाब देने के लिए तो हम बैठे हैं।
इस्लाम में सबसे बड़ा गुनाह अल्लाह का शरीक बनाना है। हम उसका अपोज थोड़ी करते हैं। हम तो हमेशा खड़े रहते हैं असेंबली के अंदर, पार्लियामेंट के अंदर, हम उसका सम्मान करते हैं। लेकिन मैं पढ़ नहीं सकता, इसलिए कि मैं अल्लाह की बात करता हूँ।
ये हम फैसला करेंगे कि स्कूल में क्या होना चाहिए या नहीं होना चाहिए। बाहर कहीं से इन मामलों में डिक्टेशन नहीं आना चाहिए।
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Siddharth Yadav is spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, Congress Party, Syed Asad Abbas is political analyst, and Shubhrashta, author and political analyst, also with us. Let me begin with Dr. Pooja Tripathi first. We have in the past, recently, Pooja, you were on the show when I was asking you exactly this question, that there are people in India who refuse to sing the Vande Mataram because of religious sensitivities. When the Congress raises objections to organizations like the RSS, calling it anti-national because it didn't raise the national flag or accept other national symbols, why don't you call these people who refuse to sing the national anthem even today, despite it being a truncated version? Why does the Congress take such a liberal view of their objection? Why don't you call these people anti-national? Ma'am, I think you're on mute.
Shivani, when it comes to national anthem, when it comes to national song, I think every Indian who identifies himself as an Indian should have its respect for it and should participate in it. I don't know why they are objecting to it. And it's very, and as I say this because I don't think any Congress, I'm a Congress party spokesperson, I don't think any Congress legislator, Congress leader has said the same. And having said that, having Vande
Your allied
Mataram-
partners have, I mean, there are, there are MPs from Samajwadi Party who have in the past refused to. And it doesn't matter. Congress doesn't comment only on people who are within its party, right? You comment on the politics of the country. My only thing is that why is it that you have so much hatred for an organization like RSS? I'm making it about RSS only because we discussed this last time you were here. That, RSS didn't accept the constitution, RSS didn't accept the national flag. True or not is a separate issue, not discussing that today. But you consider RSS anti-national because of those outlooks. Even till today, in 2025, people are refusing to sing the Vande Mataram, the national song, because of religious sensibilities. So what should come first? Why does the Congress tell these people as well that the song should come first?
Then any nation should come first. When we criticize RSS for not unfurling a national flag on its headquarters for 40 years, not participating in the freedom struggle, burning the copies of Constitution or burning the effigies of Nehru, Ambedkar, any day for any person, nation should come first. And Vande Mataram is a clarion call for unity. It's an eternal ode to motherland. And it's very, very. I want to make a point here. It's very sad. It's very disheartening and disappointing to see that Prime Minister Modi ji, when we are completing 150 years of Vande Mataram today, and just to make some political brownie points, he's making a comment on how Congress remove some of its stanza. I think it's very, very insulting to the core of patriotism of Vande Mataram. Very insulting to the core of Vande Mataram that. That's at the soul of Indian Constitution. Because 1896, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore sung it in Congress working session, and from there, be it in every block meeting, be it any district meeting, be it our central CWC, everywhere it has been sung since 1896.
But not the full version. The point is the full
Mataram
version was not sung, and I can understand, let's say, pre-partition or pre-independence, there was an attempt by Congress to mollycoddle certain views of the Muslim intelligentsia, Jinnah included. Jinnah himself objected to Vande Mataram even after it was truncated by the Congress party. So you tried to appease these sections who you today have no love lost for. Surely Congress has no love lost for Jinnah today. But you did appease these sections. You thought it would be sufficient. You thought it would be sufficient, but it wasn't sufficient. That mindset has continued till today. And the question that goes, Poojaji, once again, let me finish my question. The question that goes today is, after independence, after India was already divided on the lines of religion, why did Congress not reinstate the full national song?
Because on 26 January 1950, it was adopted. The two stanzas were adopted as national song, and it was not appeasement. I'm really sorry.
Why not the full song?
It was non-violent pragmatism. It was a committee. It was if you read Tagore, when you accuse, you can all abuse, you can go out all guns blazing against Nehru. But do you have the audacity to call Tagore as anti-Hindu? Do you have audacity to call Tagore as divisive? Because Tagore had some scathing words on not two stanza. And it was his letter when Nehruji consulted Tagore on the whole song, the 14th stanza. It was his letter which I want to read out to you, to Nehru. To me, the spirit of tenderness and devotion expressed in its first portion. The emphasis it gave to beautiful and beneficent aspects of motherland made a special appeal, so much so that I found no difficulty in disassociating it from rest of the poem and from those portions of the book of which it is a part, with all the sentiments of it brought up. I was in an monotheistic ideals of my father. I could have no sympathy. And that was Tagore having Tagore was a very blatant critic of the later stanzas, and everybody came together. There were rising communal tensions. Everybody took a
But why after independence, ma'am? My question was exactly this. Let's say 1930s, you felt it was quote-unquote pragmatism. But why after independence, in 1950, when India was already divided, Muslims were already given a motherland of their own, why was the whole song then not reinstated? Why?
It was already adopted as an official.
Why not the full song?
January 1950.
But why not the full song?
It was already adopted.
No, why not the full song? No, Dr. Pooja, you have to respond to that. Why not the full song in 1950?
I'm saying it was officially adopted as a national song in 1950.
Why not the full song? I think you understand my question.
There was this common belief that, the two stanzas, they pertain to the geographical entity of India, to the motherland, and the later were written with, reference to the Hindu deities. which may found offensive. So the two stanzas, it was a national song, and believing in the ideals of inclusivity, believing in the ideals of unity.
Is this inclusive? This is not
Okay.
inclusive. This is exclusionary. This is
It's
not
not
inclusive.
exclusion.
This is
Two
exclusionary.
stanzas.
This is
No, I don't
exclusionary if you say
exclusion. You
for
make
someone's
sense.
faith we're going to exclude what came
exclusive?
from this land. There are different ways to look at it. Okay, but I'll go across to Siddharth Yadav. Siddharth Yadav, Dr. Pooja is saying it was pragmatism at that time to do this because you wanted Hindus, Muslims, everyone together, and if they felt that they couldn't partake in Vande Mataram at that time, and many of them say that even today. The irony is that you did cut it, but even today, the first two stanzas which the Congress is saying, oh, these nobody has an objection to, the irony is that till today the objection maintains. So you didn't actually manage to appease anyone. There's still contention on it. But anyways, she says it was pragmatism, and is it pragmatism till today?
No, Prachi, I think, while we are celebrating the 150th year of Vande Mataram, it is very important that your viewers and all countrymen understand and realize what has been done to our country pre-independence and now in 75 years after independence. It was one strategy and one policy of the Congress party and their first family, the Nehru-Gandhi family, the policy of appeasement, which has always attacked the cultural identity of this country. Nothing more, nothing less. It was Jawaharlal Nehru who decided that we will, for the appeasement politics that he had to play, under the pressure of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, decided that we will leave Vande Mataram's later part and only adopt the first two paras. Why so? The writer wrote it fully. It was sung fully. Vande Mataram was the cultural identity of this country. The slogan was taken by the freedom fighters. People were losing their lives taking that slogan. People were singing those rhymes while fighting for independence. And you, for your appeasement politics, decided that we will leave that away? What kind of appeasement politics is that? And what did you achieve with that? And why is it? And it is not for anybody to abuse. It is the history of our country which has to be understood and categorically, be taken to what it was true. And for that, let me, for your viewers, put it very correctly. The Jawaharlal Nehru, in his selected works of Jawaharlal Nehru, wrote very categorically, and just let me read 3 lines. We have recognized that in the rest of the song there is ideology, imagery, allergy, etc., which people of various groups cannot put up with. Remember, we are thinking in terms of national song for all of India. Therefore, if there is ideology which various groups of India cannot honestly and sincerely accept, then it is an improper ideology for the national song. When was this? This was after 17 March 1938, when Muhammad Ali Jinnah pressurized Nehru that we don't have to adopt. And what was he pressurizing for? That Vande Mataram should not even be the national song. So one song, one slogan, which was for all freedom fighters and all Indians who were fighting and losing their blood while fighting for the independence, such a sacred thing, just for the sake of appeasement, this one family and one party has for us.
It wasn't just the family involved in that decision making. It was a lot of other people and minds of that time. Let's not forget that. If blame has to be put, it has to be put equally on the leadership of that time. But I do want to ask you.
Shivani, please give me 10 more seconds on that. One, I think we should not change or meddle with the history. Subhash Chandra Bose wrote a letter to Jawaharlal Nehru saying that the full song should be adopted. Jawaharlal Nehru replied in that letter, I have the letter in front of me, of why we would not adopt that. In the Congress Working Committee, there were so many people who were advocating that the full song has to be adopted. It was being bulldozed on the people of our country.
Well, the committee had more than the family, is what I meant. The committee had more than the family members, if you're talking about the Nehru dynasty. But the question that goes to BJP today, Siddharth, is that, raking this up today is basically a BJP tactic to continue to, niggle these spaces, which are difficult spaces for India, given that it has a large Muslim population. What is the problem if Muslims today, let's say, cannot sing it? They may associate with the feeling of the song, but they cannot sing it. What is the problem?
No, which part they can't sing? Which part of Vande Mataram can, and forget, please, I would not want to get into the binary of a Hindu or a Muslim. Which part of Vande Mataram can an Indian not sing? Which part of that? Why do we bring it down to such a level that appeasement has gotten into our blood streams so deep that we would come up with this thought that there is certain section in this country who cannot sing Vande Mataram?
But they are
Cannot
saying no
sing
to
the
it.
glory of our country?
We're not
Can I
thinking
answer
it.
that,
They are
please?
saying no to it. Syed, I'll come to you next. Yes.
Yeah.
No, Shivani, I'm asking to which part? The people who have problem with Vande Mataram even have problem to the first two paras which are officially adopted as the national song. I'm saying why did Jawaharlal Nehru or anybody decide that we will leave half of it? What sort of appeasement? The
Okay.
people who have problem, and we often see that there are people who choose not to sing Vande Mataram or
Yes.
choose to object against it, even object to the first two paragraphs.
Yes. I said
Do
that.
they
The
have a right to
objection.
be called as Indian?
The objection exists till today. Yes, Syed Asad Abbas,
Yes.
stanzas were removed that explicitly mentioned Hindu deities or divinity. But what is the objection to the two stanzas even today if they are about nationalism, if they are about your motherland? What is the objection from these Muslim politicians?
Firstly, Shivani ji, my good friend Siddharth Yadav, very articulate young friend of mine, BJP spokesperson. I don't think he's read any of the books which are in background. I don't know if they are real books or a Zoom After Effect. Respected
Sir, should I show you?
Have you even?
These are law
No,
books
no.
and I'm
Allow
a
me to
lawyer by
allow me to
profession, sir.
complete. Allow me to complete
I'm very
my point.
sorry,
I
but
heard
these
you.
books don't
I
have
heard you
the edited
patiently.
portion of Vande
Can I
Mataram.
come
Okay,
in?
these are law books. Yes, Syed,
Can I
continue.
come in? Okay. If these are law books, then please read the High Court judgment, sir, which clearly pronounces that it is a fundamental right of every citizen of this country, whether they wish to sing Vande Mataram or not. And you or your party or the likes of you are absolutely nobody to impose any of that. Respected sir, you speak of the Congress party. I come from the land of Karnataka. And are you even aware? BJP Karnataka, your member of parliament, Shri Kageri, now claims national anthem is British. Oh my God, news to you, sir. Shri Rabindranath Tagore, the great Rabindranath Tagore, wrote the hymn Bharat Bhagya Vidata in 1911. Its first stanza became Jan Gan Man, and it was first sung on 27 December.
Why are you talking about the
1911
national
at the
anthem
Indian
and not the
National
national
Congress.
song?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you. When the Bharatiya Janata Party has so much with the problem with the Congress party saying about Vande Mataram, what about their own MP who said
No,
national
I
anthem
didn't
is
ask
British?
you about the Congress party. My
Shivani,
question
I have
to
a
But I
you.
will
question
answer.
for my learned
I will
Siraji, one
also
second.
answer
Syed,
and question on the
Syed,
same.
the question was that you are quoting a High Court judgment, fair enough. You are saying nobody can impose it on us. But sir, the reality is it is the national song of the country. So if you denounce
It
the
is-
national song, how does it look?
I will answer that. That's a fair question, Shivani ji. Okay. To everyone who are the wonderful viewers of CNN, I'd like to tell them, Vande Mataram means praise to the mother. What does Islam say? Islam says, Hubbul Watan Apna Iman. Matlab, the love for your country completes your faith, completes your Iman. Therefore, I think there should be absolutely no problem in saying Vande Mataram, which praises the mother, Matrabhumi, my land, Karma Bhumi, Janma Bhumi. There should be absolutely no problem.
So why
The
do these
problem-
Muslim
I'll tell you.
politicians object to it?
I'll answer you. Fair question. Now your pointed question is, why do Muslim politicians do this? Now let me get it straight to the point. If somebody wants to read or sing the Vande Mataram, there should be absolutely no problem. If someone does not want to, and let me come to this, the fact that the other two stanzas speak of great, respectful religious deities. I am an absolute free speech absolutist, Shivani ji, and I'm somebody who reads Jai Hanuman, Gyan Gun Sagar, Jai Kapis Tihun Log Ujagar.
Sir, this is not
Nobody should
about
have a
you.
problem
Don't
with
make
that.
this
No.
about you. And don't
I'll
go
tell
to
you
the
why.
later stanzas. I
I'll tell
asked
you
you
why.
the abridged
Okay.
version as stands as the national
I'll-
song today.
Shivani ji, I will
Why
answer.
are
I
Muslim
will answer.
politicians, if it has nothing to do with Hindu imagery anymore, why are they still objecting to it? You have a different view
Yeah.
of what Islam says.
They're-
They seem to have a
they're
different
objecting.
view.
They are objecting because
Yeah.
the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to impose the same front. I'm sure many of my brothers in the Bharatiya Janata Party would not want to say
What does the
Allahu Akbar or
BJP
would
imposition
not-
mean here? This is a national song.
I
This
will
is not
answer that.
BJP's party anthem.
Ma'am, nationally, in accordance with the constitution, are we secular or not?
Yes.
We are secular. So therefore, if we are secular,
Does secularism
How
mean you
can-
can't sing the national song?
I'll tell you, secular means the country has no religion of its own, but it protects the rights of every religion. Secular does not mean that you side with one religion.
So are you
Secular
saying
state
then under
means we have
Islam,
no
then
religion.
they cannot sing it? That's what you're saying?
Absolutely not. All I'm saying is High Court's verdict is there. It is a fundamental
Don't
right.
quote
whether
legal
you have to sing
arguments.
or
I'm
not.
asking you, why are Muslim politicians objecting to it?
Why shouldn't I quote the legal argument? Because we all Indian citizens are bound by it. And
When
we
was
shall
this
adhere
High
to
Court
it.
judgment
And
pronounced, the one that you're quoting?
it has been there. It has been there in the public appearance throughout. It is a fundamental right. There is
No,
a judgment.
I mean,
of
do you
this
have the year or any reference?
Well, I do not.
Okay.
I
In any case,
yeah.
when it was objected to, when the song was objected to, can we run Jinnah's comment, please, in 1937 or 38? At that time, there was no High Court judgment, I'm sure.
I
Even
will
at
answer.
that time, the
Ma'am?
Vande Mataram was being objected to, and he
Ma'am,
had
I
said
highly-
that Muslims
Shivani ji.
all over have refused to accept Vande Mataram or any expurgated edition of the anti-Muslim song as a binding
No,
national
no.
anthem.
No.
So
no.
my question
I
persists.
believe
My
Jinnah-
question persists.
Please.
Even
I
at that
believe-
time, till today, High Court judgment or no High Court judgment, why are Muslim politicians objecting to it as some sort of an imposition by the BJP? The BJP wasn't even around when Jinnah was
Why-
objecting
okay.
to it.
Firstly, I'm a person on all the national fronts condemns Jinnah, the person who broke my country into two. I absolutely have no regards to that, who was a leader of a rogue state.
Okay.
So Jinnah is an absolute nobody to me. If I take his name, I need
But
to
why
do
are
a
Indian
quick
Muslim
mouthwash.
politicians today following in his footsteps? You are sidestepping that
Absolutely
question.
not. Absolutely not. I believe what I believe I can tell you. I think there should be love and respect for all. Because my Prophet Muhammad always speaks of Hubbul Watan, love for your complete country, complete your iman, love, live, and your patriotism.
Array, but
towards
the
your
question
country.
that arises is, why are they objecting to it? I'm not getting an answer.
Okay,
Subhash-
if they do not wish to read it, BJP should not impose. They have a fundamental right. Whether
I don't
they
think
want to
anybody is
read or
imposing.
sing or not.
As you said,
It is their
High Court
choice.
has already
Okay,
said if you don't want to
Shivani ji,
sing it, don't sing
Shivani
it.
ji,
They're not
let's take
imposing.
that. Also-
But the country
also
will
next
ask a
Shivani ji,
question.
just 10 seconds. 10 seconds, Shivani ji. Okay. I take your point. Okay, let me say I concede to your point, Shivani ji. But let us also question the BJP MP in my state of Karnataka, Shri Kageri, who said national anthem is British.
Okay,
Oh
I
my
don't want
God.
to get into strawman
No, no,
fallacy
why should we?
arguments
We should
because
also
you are
question
quoting the
Siddharth
most
Yadav.
absurd arguments to draw
No, we
the
should
attention
also ask
away from
Siddharth
what we are
Yadav,
discussing.
Why
No,
is BJP MP saying national anthem is British? Can
I
you
don't know
please
why
answer,
she's
sir?
saying it and what is the context. I don't know the
Siddharth Yadav
statement,
should
but that's
answer.
not my
BJP should
debate today.
answer.
If she has said
There-
it, it's obviously idiotic. But anyways, Shubrashta, I want to go across to you. How do you see this debate in modern day India, where even today in Jammu and Kashmir, for example, Omar Abdullah is coming out and saying an outsider cannot decide what will happen in Jammu and Kashmir on the issue of Vande Mataram. People are saying this is RSS BJP ideology that is being imposed on us. It sounds like a faux pas on the part of anti-BJP politicians because the BJP has nothing to do with Vande Mataram or, as they say, with the freedom struggle. But they've equated the desire for everyone to sing Vande Mataram to a BJP RSS ideology.
So, Shivani, I think the ideological opposition to Vande Mataram, the text in totality, or the abridged version that we have adopted as a national song, is precisely this: that the ideological camp is completely unclear in what really it wants to establish.
Yeah.
In 1950s, when the entire Constituent Assembly was debating the term secularism, there was a reason why they chose the Gandhian path and allowed ethical religion to be seen as compatible with public life. There's a reason why it was surreptitiously put in during the emergency when Indira Gandhi asked sort of the word socialism and secularism to be put in. So we need to acknowledge that before I actually respond to Sayyid Abbas's entire contextualization of the term secular. The entire Indian constitution is secular not because we framed it as or we labeled it as secular at the ideological tag of secularism. It is because substantially we are a nation of secular identity. We need not tom-tom it about it all the time. For example, three of us are mothers here. We don't, come on cameras to say we are a mother. Maternal instinct is inbuilt in us, and therefore we say what we say and we behave what we behave. Similarly is the case with India's association with secularism in its full view. in this context, when we look at the whole Vande Mataram controversy arising today, let us understand that when the committee was formed to decide on the national song, there was Subhash Chandra Bose, there was, of course, Nehru and Pandit Nehru and Abul Kalam Azad, and there was also somebody called Acharya Narendra Dev. Let's look at all these constituents, and see what their positions have been. The reason why Nehru opposed to the entire inclusion, and I think there's a historian, Tanika Sarkar, whose letters, selected works of Nehru, she actually quotes Nehru as saying that we are doing this because it might irritate the Muslim community.
Yeah.
I'm not, verbatim quoting him, I don't remember the quote exactly, but that was the essence of it. Now, my problem with this kind of a framing is precisely this, that the 1937 decision to officially omit the later stanzas stands as one of the earliest and most consequential compromises in the cultural architecture of the Indian nation state. It is from here on that this decision actually inaugurated a deeper pattern of symbolic self-abridgment just because you wanted to placate particular communities.
Yeah, and how long will it go? How far will it go is the question that we keep asking. Till when will this, taking away of the ground of a certain community to appease a certain community go on? After all, we're all Indians, right? Nobody should have to abridge their identity. Nobody should have to abridge their identity to make it clear to all other Indians that you are also equally Indians.
10-second counter. I think it's
no, Syed, I've been very patient. Please allow me to have my say.
Syed, 1 second. Let us finish, then I'll go back to you. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Give a universal critique of my argument. I don't have any problem with that. Look, my problem, Shivani, is you are asking the question of till when. Let me answer it precisely in the framing of the conversation today itself. Till the time we stop misquoting our leaders or selectively quoting our leaders. At the core, this kind of compromise was a concession to the anxieties of elite Muslim leadership. Let us call a spade a spade. What was Mr. Azad's point of view on that? Nehru wanted to, today we can, of course, it is easier for people like us to comment on Nehru, and I completely acknowledge that, the critique of this critique. But the point is that Vande Mataram, with its invocation, embodied precisely the synthesis of land, divinity, and civilizational memory. Sayyid Abbas was doing exactly that. He was quoting Prophet Muhammad. Maybe in Anand Mat, when Rabindranath Tagore adopted that song by Bankim Chandra, he was trying to fuse the very idea of divinity and civilizational memory.
Yeah.
Haven't we adopted? Of course, they are not national songs, but don't we sing Sare Jahan Se Acha? And we sing it with as much of pride as we sing Vande Mataram. The kind of conversations that we are having today, Shivani, and I think this is a cautionary note for the BJP also. The kind of conversations that we are having today is reminiscent of 1920s conversations in India. That was a very difficult time for us.
Okay. I have to leave it at that.